So you want to fish from the fair. You're probably thinking, how am I going to take care of them? Hey, I'm JP, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. When it comes to fish aquariums, there are many different kinds out there. Today we're going to be diving into freshwater aquariums in particularly. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean Nemo or Dory. They are actually saltwater fish. Now, don't get me wrong. There are many benefits going into the freshwater aquarium hobby.
Okay.
Just like saltwater, you can get a lot of unique fish as well as colorful fish that can brighten up your tank and make you enjoy your aquarium. Freshwater is actually a lot easier to take care of than saltwater is, which is great for beginners as well as it's a lot cheaper. We all want to save money.
Money! Money! Money!
The first question that you need to ask yourself when you start up your freshwater tank is, what kind of fish do I want? Do I want a community tank, a semi-aggressive tank, or do I want an aggressive tank? Depending on the kind of tank that you want would depend on the size of the tank that you need to get in order to keep the fish alive. Let's first start off with the community fish tank. Now, exactly what goes inside a community fish tank? Depending on your preference, you can get anything from tetras, danios, or platies. Those are pretty much basic beginner fish. A community fish tank will contribute of fish that will live together and grow together and not impact each other. Now, determining how many fish you want is very crucial before picking out your tank because it's going to determine what size tank that you need. A nice rule of thumb that I use personally is for every inch of fish is 1 gallon of a fish tank. For a beginner, I would recommend anything from a 10 to 30 gallon to start off with. Now, let's go ahead and dig into the semi-aggressive tank. Semi-aggressive tank can depend on what kind of fish you want. These can vary from angels, gouramis, or barbs. They can actually live with a community fish tank if it's big enough and there has enough hiding in it. Now, if you're going to get a semi-aggressive tank, I would recommend getting it planted or have some decorations in it just to make sure that all fish are nice and comfortable in that tank. Finally, let's go into the aggressive fish tank. Typically, you're going to need a bigger sized tank, maybe 75 to 100 gallons for this one. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the fish usually tend to get 6 inches or bigger. So you might want to do cichlids, African cichlids, or you might want to do anything from piranhas to other fish that are more aggressive and actually tend to nip at smaller fish and maybe even eat them.
The teeth from both jaws locked together.
Now hold on, before we get into the fundamentals of what a fish tank needs to run, let's talk about what needs to happen before you can even get any fish in that tank. You're going to need to go through a nitrogen cycle. This is a little bit hectic, but I'll walk you through it, alright? So you're going to need to set up your fish tank, fill it up with water, get some ammonia in there. What I recommend is Turbo Start. You can get it at any local pet store. And then you're going to get some starter fish. You're going to get some danios, a couple of danios, 1, 2, or 3. And you're going to put them in there and you're going to let it cycle for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Boring!
That does seem like a long time, but trust me, you want to make sure that your fish live the best life and don't end up dying on you. Now, exactly what is a nitrogen cycle? So pretty much you're going to get some ammonia in the fish tank, which is really deadly to the fish. But the ammonia is going to turn into nitrites. And from nitrites, you're going to convert that into nitrates. Which nitrates, it's still harmful for the fish, but the nitrates are actually livable for the fish. And as long as you do weekly water changes to 2 weeks, depending on the size of your tank, your fish will more than likely be okay. You're probably thinking, alright JP, I already did my research and I already know some of this stuff. But what exactly makes a fish tank run? I won't keep you any longer. So a freshwater fish tank typically needs a filter, a set of lights, as well as a heater and also decorations, and that's all preference at the end.
Oh my god!
Let's go ahead and get started with the filter. Now typically a filter has 3 different compartments in it. The compartments being a sponge, carbon, and also some form of biomedium. Now, the biomedia is used once your nitrogen cycle is done to contain all the beneficial bacteria in there and make the tank run efficiently. You're also going to need the carbon in order to keep the tank clear. The sponge is pretty much going to collect any of the big bacteria and not let it keep going around your fish tank. Heaters are very important when you have a fish tank because just how you get cold at home and you turn on your heater, fish need to live in a certain temperature in order so they don't die, in order so they're comfortable as well.
It keeps you totally warm.
Now, depending on what size tank you get, it's going to depend on what size heater as well as what size filter you need. There are many filters out there. There's hang over the bag filters for starters, as well as if you get a bigger tank, you can get a canister filter. The general rule of thumb is to make sure that you get about 20 more gallons per water in your filter, as well as a heater that's a little bit bigger than the tank that you have. Now let's get into some of the fun stuff. depending on what kind of aquarium you decide, will determine what kind of lights you need. So for a planted tank aquarium, you're going to need better lights that are going to help provide for the plant. This next part is going to be pretty important to you. You need to decide what kind of decorations you want and what makes you happy. If you want fake coral in there, fake rock in there, a fake submarine ship, go ahead and get it. It's your tank. One thing that I will recommend is that you get a good amount of decorations, because actually it will have the fish move around more towards the front, because they'll feel more safe with all the decorations and hiding spots behind them. How can we forget? You're going to need to do weekly water changes in order to keep your tank clean. Just how you need to clean your room, you need to clean the fish tank. Personally, what I like to think about it is, would you want to live in a room that's full of mess, or would you want it to have nice and clean all the time? You're also going to need some form of food in order to feed your fish. There's flakes, bug bites, as well as some pellets that, depending on the kind of fish that you get, will depend on what kind of fish food you need. One thing that I actually forgot to tell you guys is that you're going to need tap water conditioner. When you get water from your sink, your hose, or whatever you need, it has chlorine in it that actually harm the fish. So the tap water conditioner is going to get rid of all this stuff. Now let's go ahead and take a look at my fish tank, so then you can see exactly what all this stuff that we just talked about applies in an actual aquarium. Now this is my fish tank. It's 125 gallons. Now as you can see, it's a more planted tank vibe. So pretty much I can have anywhere between 60 to 80 fish, depending on the size and what kind of fish I want. I have a couple fish in there right now. So the decorations are here. I have driftwood and some plants. We're gonna go ahead and raise the canopy, and we're gonna see my lakes. So I have kessels. Kessels are gonna allow me to grow different types of plants, more harder plants. Pretty much that's why I got them. Now you can get any kind of light that you want. You can get the ones that hang on top of your glass, or the ones that go behind it. My light just turned off because it's time for the aquarium to actually shut down. Alright guys, now bear with me. This is my filter system. This is not like a regular filter system. This is actually a more advanced one. It's a sump. The reason why I have this is because it's just a larger tank, and I just wanted to get a better filtration system. So the water goes through here like your filter would go, but it works just like how I told you, 3 different compartments. Here's going to be the sponges, which is going to be my socks, which is going to get rid of big debris. Here's going to be my biomedia, which actually has little bio balls that you can kind of see in the bottom. And it goes in there to make sure that all my beneficial bacteria is in there. And then over here is going to be my heater, as well as my carbon. That's going to help out the most. And then the water just goes back up and goes all the way around. Now remember, this is all preference. In this video, you found out exactly what you need to do to start up your first aquarium. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and a comment, and also subscribe to this channel.